The year is 2025, and I, as a 23-year-old man, can officially say that I have seen Acid Bath live and in concert. Hello everybody, Wilhelm Carver here, and today I am doing a concert review. This is not a video I thought I would ever make. However, I had a lot of fun at a recent show that I think is very monumental, and I figured it'd be fun to sit down and talk about my experience. And the band in question is one, if you told me a year ago that I would see live, I would have called you crazy, and that is Acid Bath. Before I get into the concert itself, I will talk about a little bit of background I have messing with Sammy Dway and in leading up to the Acid Bath announcements. I first met Sammy back at Hell's Heroes in 2024, where my friend Nathan, who is a massive Goatwhore fan, was glazing the guys, and I kind of just mentioned how much I enjoyed Kite Strings upon first hearing it. And you could tell he rolled his eyes in the sense of, oh god, another one of these fuckers. But he was very kind and had a very brief conversation with me. Later that year, I saw Goatwhore play in Sacramento, California, and I brought a couple of Goatwhore CDs to get signed by the band, and I also snuck in my Kite String CD to get signed by Sammy, and I jokingly asked him if Acid Bath would ever reunite, and he said, you never know. And then about a month later, Acid Bath reunites. So I actually ran into Sammy again at Hell's Heroes 2025 when Goatwhore played, and I asked him if he knew that Acid Bath would be reuniting when I had those interactions with him, and all he did was put his finger up to his lips, so that was pretty fun. Acid Bath has definitely had a very weird resurgence in popularity, which I don't understand very well, and I don't think Sammy does either. He told me he was a little surprised by the sudden wave of e-girls he sees online gushing over Acid Bath, but he's very much welcoming to it, and he appreciates the support, and he's excited to see the band back, and I think that emotion was emitted in the band's performance as they absolutely tore the house down. And my journey with the concert itself, both getting there, getting home, and the show itself, was a ton of fun, a lot of memories made. It's about a 2-hour-ish drive to Oakland from Sacramento, so I left around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I got there just before 6. I ran into my friend Blackhand Photography in line, and we chatted for a bit, and I decided I would go grab some hot chicken before the doors opened just to get some food in me because I had not eaten all day. And by the time I got back to the line, the doors to the den of the Fox Theater in Oakland were open, which is there if you want to go get something to eat inside or if you want to get a drink. But they also had the merch stand open, and I decided I would get my shopping done out of the way early, and I went in. The merch stand was absolutely loaded, and looking back, I do regret maybe not picking up one more t-shirt or a hoodie, but I wanted to be conservative with my funds, and I still did spend a lot, and I'll talk about that at the end of the video. I chatted with the merch guy for a little bit, and I told him I wanted to get my CDs signed, and I asked him how were the chances if I did it the old-fashioned way and waited outside of the tour buses after the show, and he said it was not good. So my hopes and dreams were diminished right then and there. However, after chatting for a little bit, the main doors opened and I headed down to the main area to start the long wait for a few hours for Acid Bath to take the stage. And I will say, for a venue in Oakland, the Fox Theater was absolutely beautiful. It is a fantastic place to have the show. I do like the fact that Acid Bath is going for these more bougie spots as opposed to just smaller clubs. I think it really emphasizes the influence that Acid Bath has had, and I think it really highlights the impact that this resurgence is having on the metal world. The first opener was a band called 16 from Los Angeles, California, a sludge metal band very fitting for Acid Bath, and they put on a great set. The instruments were rough and dirty, and I thought the stage presence was very solid. A band I had never heard of, but definitely worth checking out if you're into sludge metal. I thought it was a fun time and a very fitting opener to get everyone excited for the rest of the night. The next band to take the stage was one that I had never seen, however I know a fair amount of people who have, and that is High on Fire, which I thought I would like, but I didn't realize how much I would enjoy them until I actually saw them. Matt Pike just has this very crunchy, motorheady sludge feel, and I think it really comes out in High on Fire's music. It's very warm and sweaty sounding. I don't think there's really a better metaphor I could use to describe it. It feels very hot in the sense that you're sweating while listening to it. And I think that's the main point of sludge metal. I think you're supposed to feel a little bit uncomfortable listening to it, but it's still something you very much enjoy. And I thought their set was great. The pit looked like it was a lot of fun, and you can tell Matt Pike was super excited to be up on stage opening for Acid Bath, and who could blame him? It's a big thing. I do plan to order a High on Fire CD or two once I go through some of their stuff and figure out which era or what sound speaks to me the most. So High on Fire was a great band to be the second opener, and it definitely got me excited for what was coming next. And after about another 40 minutes or so of waiting, the moment that I never thought would happen finally happens. Acid Bath walks out on stage after an intro with Black Sabbath's title track, getting everybody pumped up for the set. And holy shit, Dax Rig's voice has not aged a day since 1997. I've only heard his solo work a couple of times, and I will say that I thought his voice sounded very good in comparison to when he was playing for Acid Bath, but I didn't think it was going to translate live the way it did, and it was so powerful. They opened with Tranquilize, which was the perfect song to get things going with. I was about 4 rows from the front, and that thing where the crowd really just packs in together and you're kind of being pushed around side to side happens. That continued on for the first couple of songs, Tranquilized and Bleed Me an Ocean. The latter of which being arguably my favorite Acid Bath song, and hearing it live did not disappoint. Sammy playing the intro was very euphoric for me, as I had listened to that song a lot during some hard times, and it just felt so good to yell out Mother's Cool Reptilian Womb and sing the entire intro along with Dax. And I will say that I wasn't expecting the set list to be any different for this show than it had been for the past few. It's mostly Pagan Terror Tactic stuff as opposed to Kite Strings, which was a little surprising as I feel the latter is a little bit more popular than the other one. And I think the main reason they're doing that is that they're playing a bit more of a slower and softer set in comparison to some of their other stuff. And I think that's kind of to ease the band back into it, especially Dax with his vocals. So it wasn't the set list I necessarily would have asked for, nor would I have expected from Acid Bath on their resurgence, but I am not gonna bitch about an Acid Bath set. I stayed up close for most of the set until I decided I needed to go join that pit, partially because it just looked like too much fun, but the other reason is because of the one thing that everybody hates as concerts, and it's the fact that the woman and her husband in front of me would not put their fucking phone down. And this is something that's controversial in the metal world, and I will say I don't mind when someone pulls out their phone to capture 30 to 40 seconds or they want to take a couple pictures. That is perfectly fine with me. I do that myself for a handful of songs. But goddamn, do you really need 2 minutes of every single song? And it's not that you're holding it up like this. You're literally holding it up like this. You're watching the damn show through your phone. And this is something I know very well you've been waiting years for. And just to watch the whole thing through the damn phone, it really takes away from it, I think. And after a handful of other songs such as The Bones of Baby Dolls, Dead Girl, and Venus Blue, I decided that I would head back to the pit just to kind of see what was going on. And it was a lot of fun. I left during Scream of the Butterfly, which isn't the fastest nor is it the heaviest song. However, the crowd didn't seem to care as they still kept that pit moving, and it was a lot of fun. And then the last 2 songs of the night came, and holy shit, that might have been the most fun 2 songs in a pit I've had in a very long time. The second to last song was Pagan Love Song, which is a song that I had been super excited to hear, and yelling out was arguably the best moments of the night. And the pit went fucking nuts for that track. It was so much fun, and I fell down twice, and I actually lost a pit on my leather jacket during that song. So that's a bit of a bummer, but it's sacrificed to the Acid Bath gods, which I'm more than happy to accept. And I will say, and I'm starting to realize this more and more, the vibes in the pit in the back are just so much better than the vibes up front, because I feel like everybody wants it to be this parasocial thing, and when you push up against someone, they kind of just get annoyed. And when you're doing it in the back, it's just law of the land and everybody's smiling and having a good time. So I think I'll be sticking in the back more often from now on. And then after Pagan Love Song, the song they closed with was Dr. Seuss's Dead, which was the other highlight of the set for me. It was so cool because when the song started and the tempo was a bit slower, people were stumbling around the pit in a very slow but dramatic way. And then as the tempo began to pick up, things got faster and faster. And once the too fucking loud part hit, everybody was just going insane. And I'm gonna digress a little bit here. When I moved back from Los Angeles to Sacramento, there was such a cultural shift for me in the means of arts and creativity. I listened to Dr. Seuss's Dead a lot in that time span as I sort of readjusted to the more rural life that I had become less accustomed to. And being able to hear that song as the final song, the closer, was incredible. And screaming along to it was one of the best concert experiences I've had probably all year. And then just like that, the Acid Bath set came to a close, but not before Sammy said they would come back and play some more weird songs later down the line, as well as making us all promise to keep Satan in our hearts, which is cheesy, but it's Sammy Dway. What else is he supposed to say? That rhymed. And going back to the set list, there are some things I would have done differently if it were my ideal set list, but I completely understand they're trying to ease their way back into these songs. I thought for sure when they announced their reunion that they would be opening with The Blue, so I was a little surprised they didn't do that, but it is whatever. I do hope to hear that song at one point because that is arguably my second or third favorite song from Acid Bath. And given that they have merchandise with cheap vodka stamped on it, I was very, very surprised they didn't play that one, as I feel that is arguably their biggest song. But Bleed Me an Ocean and Dr. Seuss's Dead was more than enough for me, and those other songs was just very, very beautiful to see. I didn't think that would ever happen. However, that does not mean that the Acid Bath festivities for me are over. As I mentioned, my friend worked photography, and in doing so, he got an after-show pass. Didn't really know what that was going to entail or if he was going to be able to meet any of the band members, but he was able to witness them all take victory shots after the set, which was pretty cool. And after catching up to him, I was able to get him to take my CDs into the back. And even though he was able to only get one signature on them, it was definitely the signature I was most hoping to get. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to my kick-ass friend who does some really, really good photography. I will link his Instagram down in the description below. I was able to get Dax Rigs to sign my Acid Bath CDs. So as you can see right there, we have Dax Rig's signature right over Pogo's face, as well as the Sammy Dway one from a Goat Horse show previously. And then as I open up PTT, you can see we have Dax, who just opened it up and quickly signed the inside of it before he took a picture of him, and he went on his very way. And after that was all said and done, we hopped in line and grabbed some merchandise real quick, and then we left Oakland at around 12:20, 12:30 a.m. to make the drive back to Sacramento. We stopped at Taco Bell on the way and picked up some nacho fries to munch on, and we arrived back in the wee early hours of the morning, having seen a band that neither of us thought that we would ever get to see, and especially in the case of a band that he never thought he would have the opportunity to photograph. And that is everything that happened to me when I went to Oakland to see Acid Bath. An incredible set, and if you have the opportunity to go see Acid Bath, I highly recommend you do so. It was just incredible that after so many years of band members not talking to each other about it and denying to the public that it would ever happen, that they reunited for the fans, they came back, they're going through, and they're doing what they do best, and that is play songs like Bleed Me an Ocean and Tranquilized. So Sammy, Dax, Mike, if any of you are for some reason watching this, thank you for coming to California. We missed you guys very much, and we hope to see you again. Please come back soon. And before I sign off, I will showcase the merchandise that I purchased. I did purchase this baseball raglan sort of t-shirt with the devil baby on it. I figured I had enough black t-shirts already, so I thought I'd go for something a little more unique, and for $5 extra, I didn't have too many of these baseball sort of t-shirts with the different colored sleeves to the actual torso, so that is the one I picked up. I thought about picking up the Let the Blackness Roll On skull print that they had as the main tapestry up on stage, as well as the cheap vodka hoodie, although I don't drink alcohol, so it really didn't make too much sense for me to be the one to wear that. That shirt was $40, and then for $100, which is expensive, but to me it was worth it, I picked up this signed by the entire lineup, June 14th, 2025, Fox Theater in Oakland, California, the signed Acid Bath poster with the Grim Reaper riding the crocodile, which is so cheesily New Orleans, but I love it. They also had a blacklight poster, but that was 125 unsigned, as well as I think 200 signed, and I just didn't really want to pay $200 for a blacklight poster. The only other blacklight poster I have is that controversial Danzig one from the Kia Forum last March, so I don't think I'll be starting a blacklight room anytime soon. But I have this one, and whenever I move into the new house, this is definitely going up on the wall. But that is pretty much going to wrap up this little concert review. I don't know if I'll ever do another one of these unless it's for such a monumental show, and I can't think of another one that will be as monumental as this one was. So I appreciate you guys watching, and as I said, if you're able to go see Acid Bath at a festival or a headlining show, I cannot stress enough, go do it. It is one of the most euphoric concert experiences I think I've ever had. Thank you guys for watching. As always, take care of yourselves and let the blackness roll on. Good night.